must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. Yes, we'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Davy boy, we love ye so. And when you come and all the flowers falling, if I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear the soft dew tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. And you will bend and tell us that you love us, and I will sleep in peace till you come back to me. May I have the great pleasure to introduce a gentleman who was cited as a great influence on Dave, a co-conspirator of GWAR. You will all know him. His name is Jello Biafra.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks for coming out for this. We are gathered here today. Oh, forget that. When Dave died, and I'm not going to say passed away, it was the third close friend I'd lost in a period of a few weeks, and the most shocking and the most unexpected. And like my old friend Wesley Willis. Yeah, let's hear it for Wesley Willis. Say row! Say row! Say ooga booga! And headbutt somebody. Last few times he stayed at my house, I had one too, because he headbutted me so much. But like Wes, I had to stop and make a vow to myself not to let a terrible loss like this take away all the joy I've gotten from all things GWAR. And all the wild personal memories and adventures from allowing myself to get mixed up with Dave Brockie and the entire Slave Pit family. Dave, with that wide-eyed Cheshire Cat grin of his, showing me the early slave pit upstairs for the first time like a kid in a candy store. Like this mischievous, demented child who'd just run off with the keys to Frankenstein's lab. I know full well GWAR isn't just Dave, and never was, but one of the things I've always really admired about GWAR is not just how all these warped geniuses like Dave and Don and Hunter, Chuck, Mike Dirks, Mike Bishop, Brad, Danielle, Scott Kroll, so many more, on down the line until today. Casey, Pete Lee somehow found each other in Richmond, Virginia, of all places. But that many people were able to come together and work with each other to unleash these insane ideas. Believe me, I know how hard it is to keep a band of 4 or 5 people together, but 10, 12, 15, that's amazing. We all know people who just bubble over with awesome, incredible ideas, But it's hard enough to make them work in a comic book, let alone execute these ideas in front of a mosh pit full of lunatics, and then pack it all up and do it again. The concept, the characters, the plot, the latex, the hornets, those hideous costumes, coming up with a way to shower people en masse with all that jism and fake blood from hoses under their clothes attached to pumps hidden behind the band. Brilliant! When students meet at an art school and go out and start a band, this is not what is supposed to happen. Especially when GWAR was still an unknown band playing in very small clubs for very little money, trying to somehow keep everybody they took on the road in that beat-up school bus fed. And yet, the scariest of all the ever-ready bunnies just keeps going and going and going. The ideas keep flowing and flowing for what? Almost 30 years? Still finding ways to assault innocent young minds with some of the most degenerate, indefensible art the world has ever seen. And get away with it. And have people wearing Viking helmets, or before she became Slimenstra, a snake whip costume to the show. What kind of ringmaster, organizer, ball of energy can motivate that many other creative balls of energy to put in all the hard work for something like GWAR year after year after year? The constant in GWAR all this time was Dave. And like Robin Williams, Dave Brockie can never be replaced. I will always miss him. I will always love him. I was first subjected to GWAR when I went to record something up in New York with Kramer, and the first thing he did when I got into his loft was, you know, there's something I think you need to see. My life was never the same again. That early video became my favorite show and tell toy for unsuspecting guests like Al Jorgensen for the next 2 or 3 years. It was so much fun to just pop it in just so I could stand back and watch people watch GWAR, having no idea what was about to happen to them. So I made a detour down to Richmond to see an early GWAR show, their Christmas show when they were opening for the Butthole Surfers. And Hunter Jackson came out as Jesus Christ and was promptly crucified on a Christmas tree, tied up with Christmas tree lights, and heaped all this icky diluted milk from their jism puppets through the whole show till he had to go off and change into Techno Destructo, not knowing his parents were in the crowd that night. And apparently he was kicked out of his own family for a long time after that. By the time they hit the West Coast, I found myself cast in the show. Or was I abducted? The Metro in Oakland, I came out in one of these satin baseball jackets worn by idiot music executives to this day to sign GWAR to a contract made out of toilet paper. Next thing I knew, I got smacked in the head with a goblet and a blood bag, and then the blood's running down my forehead, behind my contact lenses, and it stung like hell. So yes, the screams were real. I introduced Dave to my close friend and master collage artist who's done so many of my album covers, Winston Smith. And they became who'd like to be here today and sends his love to everyone in the slave pit and everybody here. He liked jazz music, my music, and GWAR. His reward for becoming fast friends was they threw him in the meat grinder. Then they threw me in the meat grinder. My favorite meat grinder memory is when GWAR first broke big and were playing the Warfield Theater, big place, 300 capacity in San Francisco, for Bill Graham. Wow. My hair was a little longer and curlier at that point, and I realized if I played this right, I might even be able to impersonate Bill Graham. So I got that same satin baseball jacket and stopped the show, scolding GWAR, scolding you guys. You, what do you think you're doing on my stage? Jerry Garcia would never do anything like that. You want real music? Santana, you out there, you owe all your money to me, you owe your scene to me, you ain't nothing, I own you. And then, imagine how wild the audience went when Bill Graham himself, the meanest rock biz person in California, thrown into the meat grinder. Just erupting while I was slowly inching my way down the inside of yet another homemade GWAR device, you know, splintery plywood, trying not to land on the whirring fan blade as a GWAR slave was feeding hot dogs into it to spray the audience with Bill Graham's entrails or Graham burgers or whatever. Man, what else is there? I mean, I was never on his Twitter feed because I don't do that, but I hear it was a real tweet. And even now, finding out that Dave was an adopted child and just visualizing his adoptive parents finally with a bouncing ball of joy all their own, and he grows up to become Oderus Urungus. And many of you, I think, have seen when Joan Rivers had Oderus and Beefcake on there. There she is trying to keep a straight face while somebody in the most hideous mask ever made. Basically, human beings we see as food. Dogs, so gleefully into the jaws of death. Everywhere you look nowadays, you look on TV, you see people being run over by tanks, beaten by the police, people starving, and new sexual diseases. Obviously, the human race is in love with self-destruction. We are only satisfying a consumer need. Then there was the time I finally got to meet and spend some time with H.R. Giger in New York, who did the infamous poster inside my album, and Carcass, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and the Needle Suit Ever. You know, H.R. Giger, the guy who did Alien. And he had a lot of those Giger paintings we know up in the gallery, and the gallery owner was just this miserable wretch who had to have money. And then even the one that was in my Frankenchrist album that put me on trial, Obscenity and Ellie, he was there, and the gallery owner was shutting him off so important people wouldn't see the scary stuff. Giger was furious, and then he finally hid behind the doors. Important people showed up with a metal mask on, going "Rawr" at everybody. And then Carcass fans began showing up. The gallery guy wants to start charging $20 even to come up the elevator to admission. Giger's getting madder and madder. Then who walks into the gallery in full costume but GWAR? And this miserable Upper East Side gallery owner fled his own opening. He was so upset. Giger, however, was so happy to see GWAR. It made his night. Pulling a fish out of Lacey Peterson, remember that murder? With a lit cigarette in its mouth was bad enough, then out comes this indescribably hideous green baby that had me falling on the floor. I was laughing so hard. So sick, so wrong, and so GWAR. A developmentally disabled Toltec fetish gone horribly wrong that turned out to be a simple piece of green foam that Dave said he'd carved one day in about 15 minutes when he was bored. I'm honored to this day that GWAR invited me to play Boss Glom in the Skullhead Face movie. And after shooting a bunch of stuff where I'd go back and forth with Sleazy P. Martini, the last take was when I would tear off the latex mask that took 8 hours to apply as I kind of blew up and turned into the Skullhead Face robot. And they had a hose under me, and as I was tearing it off, French dressing and rotten cottage cheese was coming in with such force, I never knew my sinuses could get that big. Then there was more, and I thought my head really was going to explode. Again, the screams were real. By then, GWAR and the slave pit were family to me. I had come to know there was much more to Dave than the life of the party who just had to make fun of everything and everyone. That beneath it all was a kind and caring human being. Like when he went out of his way to look after and take care of my good friend Donovan when she was badly injured in a car crash. Winston Smith and I treasured the times we hung out with Dave and the gang, plotting all sorts of twisted, indefensible art crime. Dave once told me, or more than once, he really wanted me and him to go up to the ranch land Winston has way back in the woods in Mendocino County, just let it all go, kick back and pick each other's brains. It meant the world to me that Dave and Don and Mike Bishop, among others, came to my new band Guantanamo School of Medicine show in Richmond a while back and told me, yeah, and the rest of you, well, come next time, please. And told me how much they liked it and how much my work then till now had inspired and influenced their own. I still have a message in my phone from Dave, as far from Oderus Urungus as you can get, telling me how much he loved me in almost hippy-dippy fashion and how much I meant to him as an inspiration and as a friend. That's pretty cool. Likewise, back at you, buddy. Message is still in my phone because I still haven't gotten around to calling him back. So, does this now bring us closure? I hope not. I hope not, because I don't think closure really exists, does it? Especially when something like this happens. As far as I'm concerned, closure is more of a recent cliche pop culture term used to sell everything from psych meds to religion to the death penalty. When my little sister Julie and her Scottish husband Clive died in a mountain climbing accident in 1996, well-meaning people tried to console me, telling me, "Don't worry, you'll get over it." I told them, "Yo, I don't want to get over it. How could I get over Julie and Clive? She was my sister and Clive was a cool dude. I was just beginning to know him. I want them inside me always. 2 or 3 times a year, something like this, it all comes back and I have to let it rocket through me, break down, lose it, cry all over again. Then I get up and I keep walking straight on." And for those of you who, like me, are not just fighting lingering grief, but also a little piecey inside that's feeling kind of angry with Dave and the senseless way we all lost him, that's okay. Losing Dave was preventable, shouldn't have happened, and dude, you knew better. You knew better. That said, I feel like that one of the best ways to pay our respects and tribute to somebody we really love and admire is also to learn from their mistakes. When another good friend of mine, Kenny Jensen, drummer for DOA, was killed in a fire, Rob Wright from No Means No said, "You know how I'm going to remember Kenny?" And they grew up together. "I'm buying smoke detectors." Yeah. I mean, when my dad died last September, you know what I did for him? I went out and got me a colonoscopy. He refused to have one, and he might still be here today if they caught the cancer in time, although there were other stuff going on. But point is, okay, Dad, I'm going to do it. So, for Dave, I hope you're out there somewhere throwing Abe Lincoln and Jimi Hendrix into that great meat grinder in the sky.
Fuck yeah!
brainstorming and exploding brainstorming with Robin Williams at last. Robin needs you right now. And boy, are you two gonna have a lot of fun. And for GWAR, and my brothers and sisters in the Slave Pit family, and everybody here, I love you all.
We love you, Jello!
Please, take care of yourselves. It's important. Thank you.
Fuck yeah!
Thank you. I do this, public speaking thing all the time, and normally, there's like a script and not a speech. Whether I'm going to colleges to inspire people that they should try to chase their dreams or whatever, but I've never done this before, and this is going to be really hard, so bear with me. My name's Adam Green, and I'm the guy on the bill tonight who's not a rock star. I was not in Dead Kennedys. I'm not Lamb of God. In fact, I think that GWAR only asked me to speak today because Pete Steele is dead and Axl Rose is always late. So. But I'm a filmmaker. I made the Hatchet movies and no shit, I seriously thought like 3 people here would even know what the fuck it was. So thank you guys. But I'm the creator and the star of Holliston, in which Dave played my imaginary friend, Oderus Urungus. He lived in my closet, and he would give me horrible advice and touch me inappropriately, much like he did in real life. And Dave was also one of my closest friends, and we got to work very closely together on Holliston. I was honored to be asked to speak here tonight, and I'm especially honored to be sharing the stage with all these guys who have treated me like family since day one, and I love all of you. Thank you. Like I said, I'm not a rock star. I don't really even consider myself famous, but even though I work in Hollywood as a writer and a director and an actor, I promise you I'm not here to try to tell you how to vote or that eating vegan will make you shit glitter in democracy. I'm here to support my friends in GWAR, and most of all, my fellow Bohabs, of which I have been a member for 25 years now. And most of all, to say farewell to my friend Dave. When I was 14 years old, I got my first job bagging groceries at a supermarket on Cape Cod, and the one weird cashier with the piercings and shit turns around to me one day and he says, "Hey man, listen to this tape, it'll change your life." And that tape was Hello, and it did change my life. By the time I got through the first chorus of I'm in love with a dead dog, I was a fan for life. And not because I've personally been in love with a dead dog per se, at least not that I'm gonna admit here today, because I know this is probably being filmed for YouTube, and maybe there was one time, but it was only half dead. But you know what, like when I heard that tape, like I became a fan because just I got it. And outsiders, they don't understand GWAR, and they don't understand us as fans. Why would anybody pay their hard-earned money to go see a band dressed up as rubber monsters and get tons of like bodily fluids thrown on them? Well, they slip and fall and get the shit kicked out of them in a mosh pit. But if you're here tonight, and if you're watching this later at home, then I don't need to tell you why. You just get it. For those of you that out there that don't understand GWAR, fuck you. We love GWAR because of the awesome music, their sense of humor, their artistic creativity, the social commentary, and the fact that they take these fucking assholes that we put up on a pedestal, these celebrities and politicians, and then they slaughter them in front of us for our enjoyment. There's no other band like GWAR, and there never will be. And as we all know, Dave Brockie's sense of humor, his wit, and his twisted soul were like some of the main potent ingredients that made this band what it was and what it will continue to be. All of you know Dave's work, whether it was Death Piggy, GWAR, Ex-Cops, the Dave Brockie Experience. You know Dave's writing, his art, his poetry, his fucking incoherent novel. Dude, I'm sorry, but no matter how many times you tried to explain War Gold to me, a 6-year-old could write a more comprehensible novel than that. We knew his sports commentating, his love for the Redskins, the fact that he was a walking encyclopedia of useless Russian history, his hilarious public appearances and interviews. But hopefully by now, and it sounds like a lot of you have seen his work on Holliston, or that you'll seek it out, but some of the best and the funniest shit he's ever done. And I'm honored that Dave trusted me so fully with the Oderus character and let me write his character, because I know there's not a lot of humans that ever had that opportunity. Maybe you guys waited outside of a concert to meet him. Maybe you've come to one of the live performances of Holliston that we've done and had a chance to meet him. But over the last 5 years, I'm one of the lucky few who got to know the real Dave. And I got to work with him, create with him, tour with him, perform with him, and truly become incredibly close friends with him. And I regret that all of you who loved him so much didn't get the opportunity that I had. But behind the decadent Oderus persona, deep within the guy who could absurdly say shocking things and get away with it, because, I mean, think about the genius of that character. He could say anything and you can't argue because you're arguing with a rubber alien. Like, so who's the asshole? I also was someone who had the unfortunate luck of having to have my dressing room right next to his, and I can tell you firsthand, that costume smelled like a rotting bag of dicks that was left in a trash bag filled with curdled milk in the middle of summer. It was fucking horrible. But behind all of that was an incredibly sensitive guy, and a guy whose mind worked so fast and so uniquely that he operated on his own planet. He's also a guy who appreciated you, his fans, more than you'll ever, ever, ever know. What Dave, the tattooed heavy metal badass, probably wouldn't want everybody to know, though, is that he was such a sweet guy that he never missed an opportunity to tell you that he loved you. And perhaps out of everything I can take out of my time with Dave, it's to do that. You know, as a somewhat grown man, I don't do that. You know, I don't say I love you to the people that probably need to hear it, and it's probably because I'm afraid to say it because I don't want to get my heart broken, or I don't know why I do that. Maybe it's just as a man, you don't want to say that to another dude, you know, I love you. But, all I know is that even dying far too young and far too fast, Dave never missed that opportunity. Now, just about 14 days before he passed away, he had called and left me a message just to say, I love you. And sometimes, you know, I keep this on my phone so that I can hear it when I need it or when I can play it for other people that should hear it. And I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to try, so let's see. No, I didn't call Dave back right away. I didn't text because I assumed I'd see him again very soon and get to say it. But I can't now. So, in the presence of my metal family, I love you too, Dave. I'm sorry I didn't say it enough, and I promise that I won't make that mistake again with anybody else. On behalf of the fans in the Holliston Nation, of which I know there's many out here today, and on behalf of the main cast, Joe Lynch, Laura Ortiz, Corey English, and Dee Snider.
Yeah.
We miss you, we love you, and we will do you proud when the show continues with season 3. In closing, I want to say, first of all, I think it's testament to how amazing Dave was that he could die suddenly, but still drag it out over 5 fucking months. But, you know, I've used the word family a bunch tonight. You've heard that word used a bunch. And there's you know, I've had a fucking hell of a year personally between death, divorce, and all the shit that we all have to deal with in one way or another. And there's one message, if I could use this opportunity to spread to you guys, and that's that, like, life is gonna kick you in the balls repeatedly. You're gonna get fired from jobs. You're gonna have husbands and wives tell you they don't love you anymore and leave you. You're gonna have friends let you down. And when life throws shit at you and you don't think you can take it anymore, all you have to do is go to a concert and celebrate one of the bands you love, and your family will always be here.
Hell yeah.
We will never break up. We will never let each other down, and we will always be there to help each other off of the mosh pit that is life. So tomorrow, when you're celebrating the life of Dave and you're watching these bands, make sure that you take a moment to look around and appreciate this time that we get together, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And let the bands on stage feel that, especially GWAR, who needs you now and moving forward more than ever before. GWAR's never let us down, so let's not let them down now. And if you guys will sing along with me now. How the wheels keep rolling and another milepost gone all along the road behind. Oh, can't you hear me calling? Just like the sailor's song all along the road behind. Sad will, baby. Dave, I hope you're seeing this. I hope you're seeing this family that you created. We're still here, we're still standing together, and we're still with you. I love you. I love you. Let's have a great fucking weekend, guys.
All right, you know what? Yeah, I don't have too much to say. I've said a lot, and you know, I didn't expect to be as moved by this today as I have been. And, you know, Dave, I know for a fact that Dave wouldn't have been, he wouldn't have expected this somehow, because it wasn't in him to expect this, but he would appreciate it a lot. So, yes, we are, but, you know, we did something at another ceremony for Dave where it didn't really seem right to, you know, end in a kind of sadness, and a good friend of ours, Chris Bobst, who was in GWAR when I saw GWAR at Schaefer Court back in the late 80s or mid 80s. And, you know, Chris suggested that maybe when you're thinking about Dave, the best thing to do is for everybody to have a primal scream in his honor. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to count to 3. And when I get to 3, I just want you to scream at the top of your lungs so that Dave can hear you, right? And you'll be amazed at how good this feels. And it's something that he did all the fucking time. So let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3. Feels good. Doesn't that feel good? All right. So happy to have the people on this stage here today. So happy to have the people in the audience here today. And yeah, there's a lot of love. Right now, we are going to perform a ceremony that is untested. But we have faith that the slaves of GWAR will execute this in style, if not completely. So, we are going to give Dave Brockie a fitting, and Oderus Urungus, actually, that's who we're sending off right now, a Viking funeral. And leading us will be the beautiful Danielle Stamp, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable to have her here. Valkyrie, Slyminstra Hyman. She will lead us, as will the pipes, right? And we're going to do the Pied Piper thing. We're going to head to the lake, and a flaming arrow is going to be shot at the gasoline-soaked rubber monster that's floating in a Viking ship. Let's do it.
Amazing how latex burns.
Fish is still standing. You can smell it.
No, it's not. It's just
Yes! War! War lives! War rules!
Yeah!
Get your crown, put the clown bridges on!
Holy shit. This guy wants to burn with Oderus.
Church, leave it there, it's where it belongs! Drunk guy. Sorry, I didn't realize you weren't reading. Hold him under! Hold him under! Is that dude that wanted to piss me? Yep. Motherfucker. This one is on piss. What the hell? Why does it gotta find a bathroom? Really? Alright, everybody raping me. Once again, I tried to lie. The cold in a box, but somehow I survived. Maybe you got my face on the demon of war.